and today I'll be presenting a presentation on how to write a story. Now, one may wonder, what does that exactly look like in some cases? Well, for example, let me move our first slide. Now, due to how this was set up, this may take a few extra seconds of how it may look. There we go. Let us begin. Okay. Dark and stormy night, a ship reaching the port of a bustling colony, an empty castle worn by time and war. You may use these as the beginning of a grand and perilous journey known as a story, yet have no clear idea on what to do with them. Writing a story can be an art form. For each stroke of the brush can be a character or scene, yet the colors used can be the personality and motive that tie it all together. Join me as I take you through the incredible yet exhausting world of storytelling. Now we're going to cover three main points of the presentation: theme and plot, setting and location, characters, and the villain of any potential story. Surprise, I meant 4. I definitely didn't forget that in my notes. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Let me get this ready. Theme and plot. First and foremost, what are you after? Is it adventure, romance, comedy, perhaps a combination of the three? Deciding the theme of your story might, right off the bat, can greatly help you in the long run, mostly to help you realign what you're after. A plot for your story works as a map, helping you figure out how A gets to B and so forth, while the story remains to make sense throughout the events being told. It helps you decide as a writer, what are your readers after? What is the genre of the story you're trying to sell? And next slide. Now I'm going to have a bit of a weird example for this one, but trust me, this is going to be interesting. Okay, when building a setting for your world, whether it's writing for TV or for a book, you need to help visualize it through words before anything else. What kind of world designs inspire you the most? You can take the bits and pieces from the real world places or fictional references and change them to work closer to your theme. Because first and foremost, what's people going to remember more, the character or the place that they're in? Or technically, what's going to help them remember vice versa more? For an odd example, and for an oddly inspiring one, take My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Sure, the land that the characters inhabit at first glance don't look much like anything in our world, but from a broader perspective, compare their world to a map of North America. Even most of the towns and cities mentioned in the show are simply just puns. Like, coming up with location names can be as simple as saying, okay, let's take something original or something well known and make fun of it a little along the way. You can write that in your story if you want. It doesn't really care. Like, for some of the weird examples in the show, like Philadelphia can mean Philadelphia, Canterlot, which in other stories has been used as the mythical capital of King Arthur, but in this show, why not? Why not the capital of their world? And something as easy to remember, Ponyville. Like, it is literally just all puns. It is truly that simple. Sometimes the best reference for world building is using the natural designs and names of our world and changing the script. So long as you're not pushing the limits of copyright. Because turns out people are very stingy about that. Moving on to the next slide. Personal favorite here, characters. Now that you have the core of your world separated and planned out, what about the life that inhabits it? Designing a character for your story takes several factors to consider. How they look, how they think, allows you to explore not only your understanding of the human mind, but your character's understanding of morality and ethics. Now, Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines a hero as an illustrious warrior or one who shows great courage, though there are several other examples to that category. A person doesn't have to be a true hero, which would be an example of an anti-hero, a person who does evil things for good reasons, or so on. But it also adds the fact, does your main character have to be a hero? What leads to that understanding your path? Even a hero can fall into the path of a villain, which is a true personal favorite of what we're leading into. Deciding the villain of your story. Now, depending on what you're deciding for your theme and plot, you may not need a villain for your story. Though in truth, a good villain can be as important to your story as a main character or hero, because they can balance each other off, whether in morals, plot, or even both. For example, I had previously written a story about two brothers, one a corrupt businessman who successfully tried to kill his older brother to take over the family business, and preserve the family's quote-unquote good name, but unfortunately their family name isn't exactly as clean as a whistle as one might expect. The older brother was saved from death and was given a choice for a new life while trying to bring down his family's now morally bankrupt business. In short, by the end of the story, the older brother is given a chance to save the younger, to help him redeem himself at the last moment. That is what I believe should be the true art of storytelling, because life is about finding redemption and value not just for yourself, but for your friends, your family. Just to be honest, like Jesus Christ of Nazareth always gave you that option in life to be able to choose a better path for yourself, or not only just for yourself, but for your friends, your family, everyone. It's the greatest story ever told, the story of redemption. Leading into further inspirations, we have famous examples of story writing, which I might add, like growing up on these two books, I've always been proud of the story that's been created out of them. Although, to be honest, I must confess, I've never read the Chronicles of Narnia, but I've watched all 3 movies, so maybe that's close enough. If anyone's watching this, please don't tear me apart for it. These 2 authors have always been powerful examples of story writing in my life. Rick Riordan, his fantasy and epic heroes, his characters throughout 3 sets of books, and yes, this dude is still writing. It's both impressive and a little bit scary, but leading on to that, as an example, the Chronicles of Narnia. Well, the movies were always a personal favorite of mine, where the arguments of the values of a good leader, the fears of such roles, grand battles that would put the Lord of the Rings to shame. Yes, that is a hill I will faithfully die on in some cases. And plain human error shine like a lighthouse in the fantasy genre. But with C.S. Lewis, his elements of biblical teaching still hold true throughout all 3 movies, proving that even a Christian-oriented movie can still make millions in the box office, especially if it's produced by Disney, which is an unexpected surprise in today's climate. Although we may never see this type of movie made by Disney again, it is still a very good, very strong hope for the future of Christian-oriented movies. In closing, I want to leave you with something to hopefully remember. For example, where does that leave you? Writing a story can be both an incredible journey for not only the reader, but for the author as well. For story writing, it's its own art form, filled with the same, if not more, the same magic and imagination of painting. And my only hope is to never let a wonder be forgotten. Thank you for attending. If you're watching past this point, that means I forgot to add out this part. So